I swear to you, I played Dark Souls 3, but I don't remember any of these characters' names. I even got to like New Game Plus 8. Today we're going to be listening to The Nameless King. We're going to be talking about it, how it makes us feel. You gotta laugh, because I gotta say, I remember the Nameless King now. I'm also looking at a picture. The Nameless King walked so that Lich Dragon Fortisax could run. Lich Dragon Fortisax. Nameless King is unbelievably powerful. I remember this fight. I could not beat the Nameless King. I think I had someone come in and help me. So we've got this dragon riding king. We have this ferocious, strong, confident, focused enemy. And we hear that how? We hear it in a couple different ways. First, harpsichord. Second, organ. Third, we have pulsing rhythm. And as we go on here, we're going to hear some morphing, and we're going to hear this sort of regality that comes through in the harpsichord. And we have to understand that the harpsichord is an instrument that allows us to evoke a feeling of age and a feeling of strength, of nobility, and that comes across as we think about the Nameless King. The Nameless King being a king, obviously. There's a real feeling of that comes across here. Do you hear how, so we're in the clouds, right? And do you hear how the it really does give us the impression of like a torpedo shooting out or fire spitting out and spinning around us and finding us, and it's like a heat-seeking missile. We hear that music, and then also too, we hear the hits. We hear those on those big beats. That allows us to get a sense of what's occurring without having to see the context. Now, you of course know the context. You clicked on this video, unless you just like looking at my face, which, thank you. There is a real feeling of propulsion here that's non-stop. The brutality here is in the elegance rather than in the violence. And actually, you hear the torrential downpour. You feel rain. And also the idea that we just had this concept in the strings and then we switched to a solo harpsichord. That's unheard of. That's not a common thing. And so you really get this sort of like Bach cantata vibe to this, which is really, really, really effective in giving us a feeling of a desperate battle. It really feels like a duel here. And also, it should be noted that programmatic music that's written like this didn't occur in Bach's time period. Bach was not writing music to tell a story, not really. At the very end of his life, there was a little bit of programmatic music or music that was based around emotion, but in general, Bach's musical writing was about music for music's sake. It was about sitting around listening to the well-tempered clavier. It wasn't about telling a story, so it's a really cool thing that we get to have in Dark Souls with Motoi Sakuraba, where we get to hear the harpsichord really telling a story and really placing us in a scene, in a context. It's very cool stuff. It sounds like something you would hear out of a Bach, concerto. It's insane. My question to you is, what does this music make you feel? What is the sense that you get from this? Because to me, it sounds like a noble warrior fighting for his honor. There's a real sense of strength and courage in this music, and I'm definitely curious to hear what your perspective is on this after you like and subscribe to the channel. What if the Nameless King is the hero of this journey? It's possible. There's a real elegance to this, even though the Nameless King is not necessarily a fluidity to his movement, but there is a regality in the way that we are using our weapon here. There's a very trained perspective. When I choose to swing, I'm swinging with intention. The harpsichord also elicits this feeling of measured approach. There's a real focus here on technicality, and I think that also translates to the Nameless King. Yeah, I'm really thinking about this tornado sound, but with these descending notes that are repeating over and over and over again. There's really the illusion of flight, of the dragon hitting you and making contact and spinning fire in a big whirlwind circle. I'm sorry, so just to clarify, this is now phase 2. This is a really weird pivot into phase 2, but I want to point out that everything we just heard was definitely the dragon, if I recall correctly. But now if we're thinking about this, this is that slow plodding moving forward of the Nameless King. I remember distinctly after the dragon goes down, as you see the Nameless King approach, there's a slow methodical approach, and you hear this sort of slow sort of plodding movement towards you. And everything I said before isn't invalid. The beauty of music is that it's all up for interpretation and up for we don't need context in order to really glean a picture. Like, we can interpret things as we want to. Wait. Is that Gwyn's? You also hear the armor. Bing bung bung. Bing bung bung. It's like the pling pling plong. The pling plong. Pling plong. That's Gwyn's theme. Hold on. Yes, it is. Why is this happening again? But it's. Hold on. Now, I'm obviously at the end of Dark Souls 3, you've got the Lord of Cinder. Nameless King lore. The Nameless King, alongside his Storm Drake, known as the King of Storm, optional boss, yes, Archdragon Peak, yes, phase, okay, where's the lore? Nameless King was a dragon-slaying god of war, the age of gods, and heir to lightning until he sacrificed everything to ally with the ancient dragons. He tamed a Storm Drake and formed a close bond with it. He is a former king, however, it is not known which king he's from. It is heavily implied that the Nameless King is the long speculated, firstborn child. How can you even speculate that? The music tells us exactly what it is. Do you hear that? That is absolutely insane. That is, whoa, okay. What's there to speculate? Nothing is done on accident with these video game composers. It's the exact same steps as Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. It's not speculation at all. Yeah, I mean, there's very little to speculate when we consider what we just read. You hear the Storm Drake's music, you hear the regality of the king, whatever kingdom this king is from. There's a lot of different things here that are sprinkled in that are really interesting musically, and it's also fascinating to me that the same notes that are used in Gwyn, Lord of Cinder are also used in Nameless King, which stands reason to believe that, yes, the speculation isn't so much speculation, is it? There's a lot more Dark Souls on the channel, there's a lot more From Software on the channel in general. Feel free to like, subscribe, there's links in the About section if you want to support the channel, and as always, thanks a ton, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.